Ah, Bilgewater. A port city like no other. Home to serpent hunters, dock gangs, and all manner of weird and wonderful folk from across the known world. No better place to seek your fortune and make your name. Tread careful, though, or your purse and your throat will be cut as soon as you step onto the wharf. There's no law in Bilgewater after all. It's an old place with its fair share of myths and legends. Who even knows how many are true? But if it's stories you're after, well, you've come to the right place.
No, that seat's not taken. Pull up a chair and sink a few, friend. Though that might be a port in the phrase, given my history. I've seen a few shipwrecks. Been in one myself, as it goes, back when I was young like you. And the name was the Ophidian, that ship. Pulled down beneath the jagged straits. I was the only survivor, too, man. Maybe you buys me a drink and I'll tell you about it. This? No, this coin's not for spending, friend. That's my lucky kraken for to pay the tithe. The tithe? You know the tithe. Everyone knows about the tithe. Pay the tithe or face the ocean's wrath. Oh, by the bearded lady. Then you never heard of Nautilus either. The Titan of the depths. Barkeep! Pour us around, barkeep. There's a good lass. This is a tale that needs an ale, as they say. And my friend here's buying. That's the good stuff, that is. 'Twas almost 30 years back now, returning from a hunt. I was a harpooner, finest shot in the slaughter fleets. We'd caught ourselves an axe-fin leviathan. Aye, one of them big mean buggers. And we was hauling the beast back to port. It was just before dawn. Bilgewater's city lights flickered in the distance, beckoning us in. There were razorfish and berserker sharks following close by, because the axefin was oozing into the water, see? And old captain. Well, none of us much cared for him. Untrustworthy sort. He swears blind he paid the tithe before we left. A single gold kraken, he said, for 'tis all I have to give. But none of us seen him throw it over the side, now did we? So, naturally we were suspicious, because we knew he was a tight-fisted old wharf rat. But on we sailed anyway. And that was when the Titan hit us. Without warning, this bloody great anchor comes at us from below. Smashed clean through the keel, up through the main deck. Caught us tight and started pulling us down. Oh, it was chaos, friend. Sailors thrown overboard, the water's churning, scavengers feeding. I grabs the captain, screaming at him, "You're a liar! This is the lady's punishment for those that don't pay!" The ship was going down fast. But then the planking gave way, didn't it? And the anchor slid back into the depths. If it had ended there, well, more of us might have got away. But it weren't over. No. Nautilus weren't done with us yet. The ship, she tipped to starboard, right, son? It was the weight of the Titan himself hauling up onto the deck. Perhaps it did once been a man, but it weren't no man I saw that night, rising from the waves. I has our captain by the throat. "This is your doing," I roared, as I chokes the bastard, his eyes wide. He can see Nautilus is coming for us. So I shows the captain away down the slanted deck, and this thing catches him in one hand, if you can believe it. It was so big The fingers closed completely around his body. And the captain weren't a small man by any stretch, no. There's your tie, thy elves, and jumped overboard. I don't know how long I was in the water. Must have only been seconds, but it felt like an age. But the sea scavengers didn't get me, Mother Serpent be praised. Pulled myself up onto one of them stone pinnacles out there in the strait. And I watched the Ophidians sink. Nautilus still held the captain, squirming and wriggling like a stuck worm, but there were no escaping that grasp. The Titan was just standing there, motionless as a statue. I watched them go. Down, down into the darkness. Why spare me? I don't rightly know. Perhaps I was the only one to make an offering. Or maybe Nautilus wanted someone left alive to tell the tale, huh? But on the darkest Bilgewater nights, when the murder fog rolls in, you might hear him wading out from the shallows, slow and steady like, dragging that accursed anchor in his wake. You want my advice, friend? Keep a coin in your pocket and always pay the tithe. And don't trust no captain who says he's done it, unless you've seen it for yourself. After all, you might not be so lucky as me. Well, hello there, young'uns. Shouldn't you cheeky little sprats already be abed? What's that? You want a supper-time story from old one-legged Lars, eh? All right. Just one afore bed. Gather round. But I don't want to hear no crying or whimpering this time. This is Bilgewater, after all, and even our bedtime tales have more than a little darkness in them. Right. Now, you've heard of the tidal trickster, the little ocean sprite they call Fizz, ain't you? You have? Good. Well, this is a story about the time old Lars met him. What's that? Must have been fun. Well, what sort of stories you been told? No, it weren't fun, thank you very much. He's a malign little terror, that one, and you'll be lucky if you never cross paths with him in all your lives. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Right, so there I was, clinging to a rock out in the jagged straits. My ship was sunk. Don't matter how it happened, here's a tale for another night, maybe. But that's as it was. I clung to that rock for 3 days and nights, with fins a-circling. And just when I was starting to give up all hope, he appeared. All I seen at first were those 2 big round eyes, pale as death, as they swam towards me. Them circling sharks took off right away, and no mistake. They was afeard of him, see, just as you all should be. Closer, and closer, and closer he came. I don't mind admitting, I was scared. But it'd shoot off them hungry fishes, so I dove into the sea and started swimming for Bilgewater as quick as you like. But every time I looks back, he was there, with those big eyes just peering at me. I finally get to shore and thought I'd lost him, but how wrong old Lars was. I got a room in a flea-ridden flophouse down Rattown way, but it didn't take long for me to realise I weren't alone. What first clued me in was the creeping stink of seaweed and fish in my room. Well, that and the little wet footprints on the stair when I woke in the morning. They call him the Trickster, and he certainly lived up to the name. Put seawater in my porridge when I weren't looking. Tied me bootlaces together so I fell as soon as I took a step. And slipped eels under me blankets. Gave me a right proper scare when they started wriggling, I'll tell you. And all the time, I hears him laughing. Still makes me skin crawl just to think of it. For a whole week, Fizz haunted me. Drove me fairly to the brink of madness. What do you want, you little monster? I screams. But on that final night, I woke. I heard his webbed feet flapping on the floor. Slap, slap, slap. Closer he came, and closer. This is it, I thought. He's come to end me once and for all, and I hid myself under the covers. Slap, slap, slap went his cold, wet feet. And then silence. I lay there, cowering for what must have been an hour afore I dared peek. Slowly I reaches out, lights the lamp. And do you know what happened next? Nothing. Aye, Fizz were gone at long last. But he left something for me on the wooden box beside my bed. A coin. A gold kraken, no less. This coin here, in fact. Look with your eyes, not with your hands. That's my lucky kraken, you know. But I tell you, rather than make me happy, for I hadn't a penny to my name back then, the sight of that coin filled me with dread. 'Cause this were the very coin that our captain swore he tossed into the ocean on our way out of port. That was his offering to the bearded lady for safe passage, but the tidal trickster had took it. That was the reason our ship had sunk. That playful, hateful little imp, he'd doomed the whole crew, and done it with a wicked, fishy grin on his face. So, I tell you little sprats now, pray you never encounter him. 'Cause while he might seem all fun and games, let me tell you now, he ain't. Now, off to bed with you. And pray you don't see no little wet footprints on the floorboards when you wake. That's quite the hole you have there. One at the tables, was it? Well, here's to your very good health. Cheers. Oh, no. I'll not be rolling the dice with you. Not a gambling man no more. So it tells myself. There were a time, though. What happened? The River King happened, that's what. Aye, Two Coats. That old devil Tam Kench. He's what's happened. I was bilge poor, beg your pardon, and living in a flophouse. Had nothing to me name, not till a single gold kraken. Aye, this one here came into my possession. I could tell you how, but you'd call me a liar. So, with this one coin, what I ought to done was pay me debts and find a new crew to join. I was a harpooner, see. Should have put aside whatever was left for the future. Been responsible like. Harpooning's a harsh life, even for a younger man. But that's when the River King found me. Why work someone else's ship, he says. Slaving away, risking your life for next to nothing, when you might have a ship of your own. I just had to think bigger like. Of course, one kraken won't buy a ship, but he had an answer to that, didn't he? Dice. One good throw of the bones, and I'd have enough to start my own little operation. Others could do the danger work, while I sits back, nice and plumb, enjoying the profits. And after a few more drinks, you understand, that crooked devil's advice starts to make a lot of sense to my ears. So, blinded by greed and possibility, I went along with it. That night were a blur. I woke well afternoon the next day, my head fairly pounding. Had no idea where I was. Some fancy boarding house, as it turns out. But on the dresser were my previous night's winnings. More than enough to purchase myself a ship. But the River King, he'd given me a taste for something more. Why should young Lars content himself with a single ship when he could have a fleet? Just needed to chance my hand a few more times. That's Bilgewater. There's riches to be had, if you're willing to risk everything, over and over. With old two-coats armour on me, I was led from the dice tables to other halls of avarice. From backroom card games to gambling in betting parlours high and low. I spent a fortune, lost a fortune, then made it all back again. Around and around in that alluring spiral I went. I was feeling the hunger, the yearning, and it was pulling me down like a whirlpool. Years passed, and somewhere along the way, I'm ashamed to say I forgot what I was doing all this for. Forgot who I was. I had it all, but what never were enough. I wanted more. And then I started losing big. That made me double down, go for broke, all or nothing, looking for the big stakes to put me back on top. Pretty soon, I was in a worse state than I'd been to start with. Sleeping in the gutter, catching rats to eat, if I were lucky. I begged, borrowed and stole from everyone who'd ever shown me any kindness. Lost all my mates, chasing the dream. He feeds on misery, see, does Tom Kench. As old as sin he is, and older than Bilgewater by far. Been round since the start of things, gorging himself on the desperation that comes with the greed and sorrow in men's hearts. I mean, I did it to myself, but it were him what give me the means. You might say he took me to the cliff's edge, but I were the numpty what threw myself off, beg your pardon, and that old glutton revelled in me despair. Came to me once more, he did, when I was at my very lowest, drinking from puddles, having sold me own leg to be used for chum. In the darkest night, whispering and cajoling, he pressed this gold kraken back into my hand with a knowing wink. 'Twere the same one I'd had back at the start. It was this damn coin that started me on that wretched path. He opened his mouth up wide and says, "It's not too late, Lars. Never too late. Come with me and we'll find you a fortune again." Even after everything, I was tempted. Of course I was. But no, I resisted. Well, the serpent knows how. Two Coats only laughed. Said he'd be there when I changed my mind. And sure enough, the temptation's still there. No, every day. So here I am, friendless, broke. All the best years of my life behind me, wasted in those lost decades. Can't remember most of it neither, so no idea if I even enjoyed myself. Anyways, enough of my rambling. There's a lesson to be learned here. Keep your purse strings tight and never, ever make a deal with the River King.
Right, Olaus, that's enough for you from one night. You'll be bothering my other customers.
All right, fine. How's about one for the road, though, huh? Something to get me moving, like.
Not until you settle up. I'll not serve you tomorrow either. Not until you pay your considerable tab.
That's fair enough. A good night to you, barkeep. I'll see you anon. The tale goes in what never begins. Under the waves and the city won't swim. Slipped heels under my blankets. Sounds like someone be working late. Bit late for carving your catch, ain't it? It'll wait till morning. Hello? Oh, by the lady's beard. I seen nothing, friend. 'Tis no business of mine. I'll just be on my way.
You look familiar.
Oh, it can be. Pike. You're dead. The beast took you.
Yes. You were there. You cut my line.
It weren't me. Honest, I told them. Told them it weren't right. Stay back. Stay back, I say. What? Woody! Mother of serpents! How can you could slash your watery madman? Yeah, that's what you get. Back down to the dick.
Another name off the list.
Closing time. You watch yourself out there, because life's cheap in Bilgewater Bay. It's all a cycle, isn't it? Old legends fade, and new, darker legends are born. That's just the way of things. Always has been. So don't trust anyone. Keep one eye on the shadows. And maybe, just maybe, we'll see you again sometime.